So, a saying goes, a pen is mightier than a sword, and a writer has the power to change this entire world. Keeping all this in mind, today we at Icy Tales are in conversation with Kumar Kinshuk, who is an author known for his exemplary writing skills. I'm so delighted to have you on board, sir. Welcome. How are you doing and how's everything going on for you?
Thank you so much. I'm good. All good here. Thanks so much for that short and sweet introduction. Although it's always difficult to say whether the writing skills are exemplary or not, that only the readers are there to decide. But yes, we always work towards achieving that uh, kind of writing skills. And we would also love to have a bigger canvas of readers come back with their feedback to us in terms of not only Amazon reviews and Goodreads and BookBub reviews, but also maybe directly reaching out to DMs via the social media. So that really helps an author figure out early in the career whether the direction is okay or not.
You were answering all the questions that I had written down, but never mind, let's get started. Starting off with the basic question, how did your journey of becoming an author begin, and what's your story behind it?
So I got into it quite late, actually. I have had in the past also, while I was a kid, I used to write a lot. I used to write, at that point in time, it would not be novels or uh, shairi or stories per se, but I used to write a lot of those essays.
Mhm.
And also that point in time, I used to write a lot of, articles, financial and IT related articles, some of which actually got published in newspapers also that point in time. So this Hindustan Times used to carry a chain of my articles, Hindustan Times Ranchi, but those were typical IT related
Mhm.
subject articles. And I have written a lot of essays, and my dad actually is a senior professor of English literature at Ranchi University.
Mhm.
So, because he used to read a lot of stuff, a lot of literature, and we used to interact and talk about the stories of Epaminondas and a lot of those things that while I was growing, he used to narrate all of those stories to me. So it had a very positive effect on my own reading skills. Although at that point in time, I was not much into novels and other things. I used to read more of comics and that stuff. But slowly, I did inculcate writing skills. While I got into my profession after my MBA, for over 20 years, like almost 20 years, I kept, you know, everyone does. You are
Mhm.
working. It's a
Yeah.
full-time job and you're working, which I still do. I have a full-time day job. I work. But I think 2015, 16 onwards, I had this in mind that let me begin, because that is the end game for me. I always wanted to be a writer. So while I started in 2015, 16, I could not ever complete that because I did
Mhm.
not have a structure in mind. So
Okay.
I was writing a story, a novel of two girls, but I never had a structure. So I created two powerful characters, and those characters took me on a journey, but I did not know the end game of that. So then I got back in 2020. My dad also said, if you're just rambling and writing something, it would not take you anywhere. You need to figure out, okay, fine, characters are powerful. They'll always take you their directions. One character would like to outwit the other. So what do you do? Which direction would you take as an author? Do you have an end
Mhm.
game? So why don't you structure it? He taught me the structuring bit of it, that you need to structure a novel and then you need to kind of come back into starting your journey. And then COVID happened, as everyone
Mhm.
knows, and you were not traveling anymore. So I got maybe 2 3 hours more every evening with me after the Zoom calls, which suddenly became so famous
Yeah.
or infamous. And that's when actually over the last 1 year I wrote 5 novels, and I published all of those 5 novels myself.
It's very nice to hear your backstory. And since you spoke about the times when people would demotivate you and you will be clueless on what to do, so from where exactly do you get the motivation to write your work?
No, so I am self motivated as far as writing is concerned. I don't need anyone to motivate. The only question was timing. And, after a day job, once you're home at 8 o'clock in the night, do you have it left in you? So it's a question of whether you can still maybe have your dinner, have some me time with the family, and still get back to writing. So a lot of times, evening times were not working for me. I actually did most of my work on Saturdays, second half, and Sundays. Yeah. And then if you are a self-publisher, that's a big challenge again, because you are a business owner that way. So you have to publish and you have to do the marketing, you have to do your sales efforts, you have to do everything yourself. Advertising, so important, all of these. So you need to learn all of that. You need to implement all of that and then become a bestseller. So that's been the journey last time.
So even before COVID came, you were Atmanirbhar. So congratulations on moving
Thanks so
on
much.
to my next question. When I was scrolling through your profile and just kind of researching about you, I noticed that your work mainly focuses on the thriller genre. So when did you realize that this was your strength and you will keep going with it?
So I wouldn't say I'm a thriller genre writer alone. Uh, in the US, yeah, what happens is people are very genre specific, if you say, because in one pen name or in their main name, they would write only in one genre. They would not write in multiple genres because they kind of inculcate a readership basis the pen name and basis the genre they are writing. But in India, I think most of the people have been able to successfully dabble into multiple creative. So it's, as an author, you are creative. New stories come to you every hour. So which are the stories that really take you far may not turn out eventually to be a thriller or a mystery novel. So while my first novel, Two Indian Girls, which I wrote, it eventually turned out to be a mystery novel. It's not a thriller. And, a lot of the feedback I keep getting even now on Two Indian Girls is, you say it's a thriller, but I found it as a quieter novel. It's a mystery, all right, but it's not a thriller. But if you see the blurb itself, it's very clearly written. It's not a thriller. It's a mystery novel. Second novel was basically Fatal Belief. It's a big mystery novel. It's pretty nice mystery novel, I would say. One of my best works, Fatal Belief. Uh, Third novel is Daybreak, where the mystery unfolds and you are kind of able to figure out as to how all of this happened. Very powerful mystery novels, Fatal Belief and Daybreak. But while I wrote this was supposed to be a trilogy, but eventually some of my own feedback from my readers came back saying, okay, you've shown this guy, Inspector Rajiv, to be a big guy already from first novel. So, but we don't know the backstory of Rajiv. How did he become a big guy? Because that for an inspector to be well known across two states, it's not easy. Or to be well known across India, it's not easy. So, what's the backstory? Then I wrote the first novel, the prequel to the series, which is Ritualistic Murder, and that is an out and out thriller. Because at that point in time, I was reading thrillers myself. I was reading Lee Child. I was reading a lot of other books in the thriller genre, and because I had done mysteries, three novels, the prequel is an out and out, edge of the seat thriller, Ritualistic Murder. But having written these four novels and having seen that, for example, in India, you have not only the big guys like Chetan Bhagat who've dabbled into non-fiction and fiction, or Preeti Shinoy, fiction and non-fiction, or Kiran Mandral, fiction and non-fiction. Like her recent one, so Rising 30, it's a non-fiction, while she's written multiple fiction works also, including thriller. So I also felt I had other creative stories in me, and I wrote Paryatu Tales. So this is not an imaginary story. There are multiple anecdotal stories also there, but there are certain real stories, and all the characters are real characters, and the location and descriptions of those are all real characters and real locations. So this is actually a very fun novel of 7 kids who are part of a joint family system.
Okay.
And in a joint family, while we were growing up, we did not have gadgets of today. So you did not have an Insta, you did not have mobile phone, for example. You did not have television sets. So what do you do in a joint family if you don't have any of this? So you play, right? You go out and play, you play at home, and you hear a lot of stories, and you create a lot of stories.
Right.
So we've created a lot of stories, and all of that has gone into this Paryatu.
It's very nice to see that big thought process behind every story, because that was something I didn't know. I thought it's just thinking and writing it down, but I love that there's a process behind everything that is existing in today's world. Moving on to my
Right.
question. Apart from writing, I also noticed that you go on live sessions and take interviews of other authors and speakers. So, what do you exactly learn from doing all this?
See, for me, it's two things why I do it. One is obviously I want to connect with some of the fellow authors. Some of these are big guys in themselves. They have been there, done that for the last 15 years. Some of them are very active on social media. Maybe even they are lit fest guys. They have been published by a Penguin, Random House, and HarperCollins.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm a self-published indie author, so there's a big difference. While indie authors are becoming bigger now and getting accepted more and more in India also, in the US, in the West, if you see, indie authors have completely outwitted the traditionally published authors. And
Right.
it's not outwitted. It's that industry itself has grown by leaps and bounds over there, and therefore readers have started coming to indie authors also, which earlier it used to be a difficult transition. They used to feel, okay, it's not a Penguin book, I should not read it.
Mm-hmm.
That used to be that initial hesitance. I don't know, this is some Tom, Dick, and Harry has written this book, and no one has published. He has gone ahead and published it. But when you have an Amazon, which is allowing you to publish your own book on a KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing mode, and they are saying, why do you want to give somebody the royalty? Why can't you publish it yourself? I'm not even charging you for publishing your work. Go ahead and publish and see what happens. And
Right.
because there, then you become the owner of your publishing business. You are able to take calls in terms of your advertising, your networking skills, and all of that. So, but because I was from this indie background, I wanted to connect with the trad published authors also and figure out what they're doing, whether they're going the indie way now or not. So if you see some of the interviews I have taken, for example, Kiran Mandral, trad published. If you see Kanchana Banerjee,
Mm-hmm.
I think a couple of books were trad published, but after that she's also done an indie. Richa Mukherjee, trad published as well as indie.
Mm-hmm.
Neil De Silva started as an indie, got into trad publishing deals, multiple deals, and then again has done some indie work. So this was because I was new to this, and they have been there for 10 years. It was obviously a lot of learning for me also, and now they have become good friends. I can possibly write to them if there is something I need help from them. So three of them actually were very helpful. Uh, my book blurb, if you see for this one, Paryatu Tales, uh, Kiranji, Kanchana Banerjee, and Nupur Luthra, they have written their own, they read the book and they have given their own feedback on the book. So it's there on the book cover, back cover.
Nice.
So you get to know people and you help each other, right? And for me, because with the indie background, this is all great help. And in future, obviously, if they need help, I'm there for them.
That's one of the nice things, because I felt like today is a role reversal, because I am taking your interview and you are on the opposite side, because even I also love writing. So even I'm getting
Okay,
on a lot of things from you. So good job on that. My
nice to hear.
Yes, right. So my next question is about how do you deal with failures, challenges, and when you're clueless on what to do next, what exactly do you do?
So I go back to the basics. I start basically structuring the entire issue.
Okay.
What is the issue? Because I have a management background.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually drill it down. Like, where is the issue? Why am I feeling the way I am feeling? For example, am I feeling depressed? Am I feeling lonely? Am I feeling unhappy? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling distressed on something? So,
Right.
what is it that is bugging me? I actually drill it down, figure out where the issue lies and why it is happening. I try and then create solutions for that. So if I do A, B, C, which one will help me the most? And is it something I have been keeping for the future? Have I kept it pending and therefore it is kind of hurting me? So I try figure that out, create a solution. And there's nothing called, left brain. So it's a full right brain thinking and getting back, working. Maybe I'm just wrong on the left brain, right brain. But it's an analytical process I follow. Drill it down, figure out, and create a solution and actually do it. So there have been times where the solution itself has come to me maybe after days of thinking. And the implementation of the solution may have taken me even 3 months, 6 months. But I know where I am and where I need to be. And I take life as it comes. I am not I don't plan 10 years ahead. I plan to be happy.
Right.
And I am the happiest when I'm writing.
I think
That's
all
it.
the writers need to hear this to help them get motivated. So I'm sure if someone is watching this, they will surely have a lot of takeaways from this interview. Moving on to my next question, it's about like you spoke about the Amazon things. So do you think ebooks give readers the feel of reading an actual book?
So I think a lot of water has gone down that tunnel. It's been some time now that ebooks have been available. In fact, I'm so happy to see a lot of work now happening on the book NFT zone also, which is the new baby on the block. So ebooks have been there, and a lot of people have got to reading ebooks now on their phones, on their iPads, on computers, on their Kindle systems. So, but you are right. A lot of people have still not taken to ebooks, and that smell of a book in your hand is something that still guides people. And I think some of the people who are the senior people in their, I think, generation, my generation, also a lot of people, and a generation senior to me, they wouldn't have taken to ebooks. They are still on the. But then, for youngsters, it's easy. Where do you store so many books? Nowadays, people keep shifting locations and houses. It's best you have one Kindle, it's all there. Only issue there being, if, for example, tomorrow, which won't happen obviously, but if you've been buying from Amazon and Amazon as a company goes bust, so all your books go, right? All your life's work and all of your books go suddenly. But that won't ever happen. That's okay. And NFTs would take care of that anyway, because in NFT that can never go, and there that chain would exist on the blockchain where you are the owner of that book.
So everything has an upside and a downside. So equally.
Yeah, it does.
So we are seeing this transition of books going on to the big screen as films. So would you ever want one of your book to be converted into a film, and would you want to see it on big screen?
So absolutely, I think it's a dream of every writer. Everyone wants their books to be either created into a series or into a movie. And I have a very good series, the Kanke Killing series, 4-book series. Basically, Ritualistic Murder, 2 Indian Girls, both have been bestsellers for a long time, and 2 other books in a series. So that I am working with a very large agency already. So as and when I have something on that, I'll definitely put it up on my social media. We are working on something.
We hope to see it come out soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
Right. So what advice do you have for all aspiring and upcoming writers to never give up and keep doing their work always?
So I don't think I'm in a position to give advice. I'm a new author myself, just 5 books down in a year. And I was talking to a couple of authors in the US, and they consider an author to be an author if you've done 20 books. Until that time, you're not an author, for them at least. And for the readers in the US, because they are so nuanced into their own reading, and they understand their own reading style so well, they also start reading a new writer only when they see some history of the writer. They just, because your first book, they would not come to you, flock to you for reading. They want to see whether you're consistent or not, whether you've been publishing or not, and whether you've been there or not. So it will take a couple of years for me. I'm not saying 20 books, but maybe 10 odd books when I can then say, yeah, I have become an author. I'm a writer for sure, but I have become an author and an author entrepreneur once I have done, say, 10, 12 books. And that is when I can give an advice to the youngsters coming up. But yes, only thing I would want to say is if it is something that gives you happiness, if it is something that is your passion, definitely don't leave it. Whatever time you get, half an hour a day, scribble something. Eventually, whenever you have time, you will be able to create a product out.
I think that relates well with me also, because I get confused when I'm doing things, whether I should do this, whether I should do that. So I'm gonna take in that advice and move forward in life. So thank you so much for that. My last question is not going to be like the others. It's going to be a very fun question. If not an author, what do you think you would have been better at?
So it's a difficult question because I am doing a day job. I have a good family, very nice. We have a good, decent, middle class Indian life. I'm happy what I'm doing, my work, all of that. Uh, but I actually, I have tried multiple things in the past because I'm a management guy myself. So I did a year of hydroponics. And I did not actually take it forward as a business. I did it in my own kitchen garden. I used to create, different types of salads out of what I was growing. So that was a good feeling, that you're eating what you're growing. And so much of effort goes into it, so much of sweat goes into it, and you have a product that you're eating which is completely organic. So that gave me a year of happiness. But would I convert it into my business? I was not very sure.
Okay.
I have done a lot of photography in the past. I have done, different things in the past, but none of it I felt I would be able to do complete justice and create a business out of it. But my writing, because this gives me the most pleasure, I thought there's nothing like your passion being your work. And once you retire, by that time you should have created a backlist. So this is my retirement game plan, maybe another 10 years. And by that time, I would have certainly written 20, 30 books. And this becomes my backlist. And that is when I really start as an author.
It's very nice to hear that. And like you said, we need to do the things that make us happy at present without, thinking too much. So very true words which are coming from you. So this brings us to the end of the interview. I hope you had a great time, because I really
had a great time. I love interacting with youngsters like you, and all the best to you in your writing career. All the best to you overall in your career.
Thank you, sir.
And I hope you will make the most of your writing skill.
I hope to do so. Do take very good care of yourselves, and I am waiting for your book to come on the big screen. I'm hoping for that.
Oh, absolutely. Something will happen.
Yes.
Let's hope for the best. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And for having me over.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this with us.